Hello, beautiful people, souls. I've kind of switched my introduction. Wow, what a flop. We're diving right in. Hello, you guys, and welcome back to my podcast, or welcome to my podcast, Rewire to Inspire. My name is Jessie Brown, and I am very excited to be jumping on the microphone with you all for episode number 218. If you missed my last episode, number 217, I shared with you all, where are you letting yourself down consistently? I can feel, I'm wearing a hat right now. For those of you who are listening to audio, I am wearing a hat right now. My hair is insane. Today's one of those days, and ladies, I'm sure you can relate. The phase that I'm in of my cycle, whenever I get to this phase, I'm just like, every piece of clothing that touches my body feels gross. Nothing but negative thoughts coming to my mind when I look in the mirror. I just feel disgusting, and it's just been a bit of a rough day. And I remind myself on these days that those thoughts are not true, and it's just a phase that I'm in right now, and it's gonna pass. But gosh, on those days, it just feels terrible, and it sucks, and it's so hard sometimes. I've tried on my clothing room. I had finally organized last night and was finally put back together, and it looks like a tornado went through it again, because there's just clothes everywhere, because nothing felt right on my body. And so I ended up throwing on this sweater, which also has my podcast logo on it, although you can barely see it, so I didn't really think that went through very much, but that's kind of just where I'm at right now. And I wanted to come on here imperfectly and just have fun and put on a fun hat, and in a lot of ways go back to my high school self, because that's what I want to talk about today. And I know the vast majority of my demographic is not in high school. I do speak at a lot of high schools. And so I know that there are folks that are younger that are listening to this. And so I wanted to create a special episode just for you folks. But in saying that, if you're not in high school, I do encourage you to continue listening, because these are all things that I wish I had heard when I was in high school, but they're all very relevant still to my life now. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them are. And just things that I wish that a mentor had told me when I was 14 through 17, and was just there to be a little whisper in my ear. And I want to be that little angel that's on your shoulder that tells you the things to get you through, to be honest, one of the hardest times of life. And I know that all of life has phases, but high school is a challenge. And even working in the school system now, going into high schools and just seeing what things are like now, it's equally, if not more of a challenge now than it was when I was in school. The advanced technology, the impact that COVID had of taking a break away from socializing. You know, teachers are burnt out. There's not a lot of money in our school system. There's just so many factors that are contributing to school just being a little bit harder. Yet alone, life outside of school being challenging. And then once you are in the physical building, you know, all those things aren't forgotten about. If life at home is more challenging, you bring that with you to school, whatever it is. And so I wanted to just give you guys, and I started with 5. I had 5 things that I wish I had heard or knew, believed, whatever, when I was in high school. And as I was brainstorming, I just kept thinking of more and more and more. And honestly, I could have 100 lessons for you that I wish that I knew when I was in high school. But I'm going to stick with 10 because I know that that's already a lot. And some of these points speak for themselves. Some of them I will definitely go more into. But I really just want you to know that it's okay if it's challenging. It's okay if you're having a harder time. The world is heavy. High school is hard. And you're not alone in that. And I want you to know that. So that is my first message for you guys. That's not my first point actually, but that's just the first thing that I wanted to say. Like I said, permission to just be off the rails a little bit today. It's a little bit chaotic. It's a sunny day. And I'm just excited to be jumping on here with you guys. So the first point that I had actually written down is to spend less time worrying about your appearance. And I wrote this one down as I was flustered turning on the camera and setting up my equipment to record, because this is one that I still deal with, but I dealt with this so intensely when I was in high school. I didn't have to be to school. I believe first period started at 8:20, 8:15, 8:20. I would get up at 6 in the morning most days to get ready for school because I just felt so ugly all the time. I wanted to cover my freckles, do my makeup. Many days I spent time putting extensions in. I would This similarly to the tornado with my clothes, like everything that I put on just felt ugly. I didn't like it. And really the root of that was my relationship with myself and so much fear about how others will perceive me. But here's what I want you to know. Spend a little less time worrying about your appearance, because what really matters is who you are. What I remember about people is not what they looked like. In fact, I could not tell you one single outfit any of my friends wore when I was in high school, but what I can tell you is I remember how they treated me. I remembered how they supported me and showed up. I don't remember what they looked like. I know it feels like our day-to-day, and not it feels like, it is. It's our reality in that moment, and so we care in that moment. And especially now being in a world that is so online and full of social media and Snapchat, and our pictures are being taken and published and whatever, and we all care so much about our appearance. But all I'm gonna say is, it's not the end of the world. If you have a bad hair day, I promise you it's not the end of the world. If your outfit is not perfect one day, I promise you it is not the end of the world. And I know we all have a different relationship with this, and some of us are like, I don't really care, and other people really do care. And so obviously there's a spectrum with this, but all I want to say from 25-year-old version of me to you, 14 to 17, or whoever is listening, I think this is important. Spend a little less time worrying about your appearance and more on your character and who you are as a person and how you make people feel when they are around you, because I promise you that is what they're going to remember. Number 2, and I'm sorry to be a Debbie Downer and talking about how I'm feeling and like my clothes and feeling ugly and all this stuff, but I just want to be truthful. And the second point that I have is also equally as truthful, and I'm really sorry about this one. And this might not be true for some people, but I think it is for a lot of us. You're going to get your heart broken. You're going to get your heart broken, whether it's from a friendship, from not being accepted to a college, or from a partner. You're going to get your heart broken. But do you know what? One, I promise you you'll be okay. I promise you, with every ounce of me, you will be okay. There were so many times when I was in high school that I had my heart shattered, crumbled, broken, stepped on, thrown in the trash, just crushed. And I thought my world was over. I'm telling you, it's going to be okay. And if you've yet to experience that, and you do experience it, heartbreak is a very beautiful thing in a way. And I don't say that to be neglectful of the pain that it causes, but you learn a lot about yourself when you get your heart broken. You learn a lot about life when you get your heart broken. And as someone who definitely, tied a lot of my self-worth with being in a relationship in high school, that's also something that I would work on, is your relationship with yourself, spending time alone, getting to know you for you and the things you like and your passions, and a little less on that validation from relationships, because that's definitely what it was for me. It was that validation piece, so I didn't feel alone. But my love listening, I can pretty much guarantee you at some point in time in your life, if you have not already, you are going to get your heart broken. That is a part of life, and it's going to be okay. What can you learn through that experience? And know that that's just a part of life, and something that almost every person I know has experienced. And it's okay, and it does get easier with time. Number 3, those emotions you feel, but you're most likely suppressing, they're all normal, and they make you human. Ugh, emotions, right? When I was in high school, there was no names for, mental health was not a word. When I was in high school, and if it was very new or taboo. I didn't understand that the way that I was feeling was anxiety, was depression. I didn't have a label for it. I didn't know the word trauma. I didn't know any of these labels of things. And so it caused me from a very young age to just self-criticize and feel like something was wrong with me. The emotions you're feeling them because you're supposed to. They have a message, they have power. They are there to protect you. If you're feeling a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, a lot of frustration, you're feeling every single one of those emotions for a reason. I promise you there's a reason. But when we suppress them, and we tell ourselves we're not feeling them, or we think we're not worthy of feeling them, that, I promise you, will come back to bite you eventually. It's okay to have emotions, and we need to talk about that and normalize that. And again, I want to be here, fast forward in time, to tell you that in case you don't have that person or access to anybody to tell you this. They make you human. They make you you. And as I always say, emotions have a message. What are they trying to tell you? Are you overwhelmed? Are you burnt out? We need to also normalize, just because you're a student doesn't mean you can't be stressed or burnt out. You're human, 100% you can. And that's okay. But what I would encourage you to do is, instead of turning a blind eye and suppressing it, especially you men, I gave a keynote at one of the schools, I'll keep it anonymous. And there was this group of guys in the front. And I kept my eye on these boys because when I first got there, they were being a little rowdy. They were laughing, like, this is probably so stupid, whatever. And then once I got like 20 minutes into my presentation and I was kind of diving deep into the vulnerables, all of them sat up a little bit straighter and they stopped talking. And I knew that it was because there was some truth in my story that resonated with them. We are all not that different in our experiences. We all experience emotions. Just because you're a teenage boy doesn't mean that you're not allowed to feel your emotions. In fact, please do. I promise you, it's cool. I think whenever I see a man talk about their emotions and be vulnerable, I'm like, thank you for being such a good leader, because this is what we need more of in our world. It's like, I don't know, that one I could talk about all day, but those emotions that you're feeling, I promise you, they're valued, they're valid, they make you human, and they make you freaking awesome. And so I know not all of them feel the best, but they are all there and serve some type of purpose in your life. Number 4, it's okay if you don't like what you see in the mirror. You have every day to work on that relationship. Be gentle with yourself. I am a self-love mental health advocate. And I spent all morning this morning going, ew, every time I looked in the mirror. It is a everyday work in progress. It is okay if this version of you does not love what you see in the mirror. We're not even taking into account hormones and growth and puberty and change and building a new relationship with yourself and like all this new, things happening in your body. It's a lot. Nobody tells you that. Nobody tells you like it's going to be a pretty rough ride. So just know that it does get easier, but that it does take work. And it's not going to just magically get easier. It's going to take conscious effort on your behalf externally to do that work. But be gentle with yourself as you navigate through that. Just because you don't like what you see in the mirror right now doesn't mean that that's forever what you're going to look like. I look nothing like high school version of me. I mean, in little ounces, yes, but in a lot of ways, no. But do you know the biggest thing that changed? It was my energy. It's my frequency and my relationship with myself. Yes, some physical things changed, obviously, but my vibe as a person changed and my relationship with myself changed, and that's what makes the biggest difference in our appearance. Okay, number 5, be present. Where you are is where you need to be. This thing right here, I'm holding up my phone. I know that those of you that are in high school, you have been brought up with technology from the time you're born to this moment. I definitely experienced that, but less. I was probably around the last generation that didn't completely grow up with technology. The effects of being disconnected socially from your peers and your parents and your family and your friends and society, that is affecting your brain. We as humans are designed for social connection. We are wired to crave that connection. And I apologize about my cat. I re-listened back to my last episode and she is such a louder meow than I realized than what I can hear right now. So I apologize about that. She's been staring at the birds out the window all morning and now she's probably like, I'd like to come take over this window, please, so I can listen to the birds here. But where was I? Train of thought. Be present. Social media is a great thing. Technology is a great thing. These are all great resources. But when they start to take away from our ability to actually connect with each other and to be present, that's when it becomes detrimental. When you're with your friends, are you guys just on your